Evan Carter is on a heater to begin his major league career, and is Michael King's recent run of success legit? Join us on today's episode as we provide you with must-add players for the final week of the season on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you can find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you do that for us. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes you to the channel, also gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly, join us on the Subtext platform. I know the season's wrapping things up here, but if you guys want to talk about playoffs, World Series, off-season stuff, dynasty rankings, keeper rankings, and all that fun stuff, join us on Subtext. We're going to be talking about that all off-season long. And I do throw out there, I know a lot of you guys probably play fantasy football. Even if you want to chat about that a little bit, join us on Subtext. Matt and I both play as well. But guys, real quick before we get into it, I need to talk to you about one of today's sponsors. It is Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper picks, and you could win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use the promo code Locked On, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Once again, check out Sleeper today. Locked On Fantasy Baseball fans, we have a fully loaded episode for you today. And as always, let us be your team secret weapon as we provide you with must-add players once again for this final week of the season. I know some of you are probably in a championship this week. For me, it's a little bit too long. Last week is kind of tough. We'll talk about, strategy for the last week. And also we have a bunch of great names for you guys to add going into it. Matt, who do we have up first today, my brother?
All right. We have Mr. Michael King of the New York Yankees. Had a really nice outing. Actually last two outings has been really impressive. At Boston on the 14th, 8 Ks, 4.2 innings. 1.93 ERA and a 1.5 whip. It's a little high, but it is what it is with those kind of Ks and ERA ratios. And then comes out on the 20th against Toronto, 13 Ks through 7 innings and a 1.29 ERA with a 0.71 whip. Numbers are solid. Next start is at Toronto. So look what he did to Toronto last time. There's no reason he can't do it again. I'm really impressed with the kid. Kind of knew he always had it. Really didn't think they were going to give him a rotation spot, truthfully. So I'm pretty excited that they're doing this. They're finally giving him a shot at the rotation, and we'll see where this rolls. I mean, quite honestly, we may not see too much of him in the playoffs to really assess what his value or what he's going to look like for next year. But for next week, for Tuesday, I'm definitely rolling him out if my championship week is this week. And, there's nothing stopping me at this point. Guys are going to be missing starts. Are going to get pushed because they're going to shut them down for going into the playoffs and give them a break. And you're going to need to fill the holes and plug the holes in the lineup where guys are sitting out. So Michael King is an excellent best case scenario add.
Yeah, Matt, great take on Michael King there. He does get Toronto, as you mentioned, on the 26th, and it looks like he lines up for Kansas City on October 1st. I don't know how sticky that's going to be because Michael King's been great, and the Yankees are probably going to want to, have him lined up, for some point in the playoffs. So we'll see how that works out. But, potentially 2-start week for Michael King. He's still way too, under-owned at this point. I mean, okay, he jumped up a little bit, jumped up 8 in the last day since last time I looked at it. So he's at 58% owned now. If he's out there in your leagues, you absolutely have to add him. Matt, did you want to hop back in?
Bro, are we getting delusional Yankee fan stuff, like where we think that the Yankees are actually going to make the playoffs?
Oh yeah, no, I mean I'm losing it there. We've made the playoffs so many years in a row that it's just like, you think that we're still there, but obviously we're not at all. That is delusional Yankee fan from me. But
I was gonna say we're like 7.5 games out.
Yeah, no, there's absolutely no chance at this point. So, you know what? I guarantee Michael King is out there, 2 times this week. You got to get him in there. His last 4 starts, 4 starts of the season, that's really when they moved him into the rotation. He currently, in that time, had 21 innings, 34 strikeouts, a 1.66 ERA with a 0.4 FIP, which is fielding independent pitching, kind of an ERA indicator. So, he's looking great. Batting average against 247, not bad at all. And he's getting those swings and misses. That's what you want to see from a starting pitcher. I think Michael King is a great add headed into this final week. Let's move on to another pitcher back in the rotation, and it's Bailey Ober. Ober looked solid. He didn't blow you away in that first start back, but he looked pretty solid. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, struck out 3. Against Cincinnati, he had a 1.20 whip. Guess what? He gets Oakland on the 26th. Bailey Ober's only 34% owned. I think you gotta, pick him up. He's had a very, very strong year, and with his it's pretty much his first full year as a starter. 3.66 ERA, 1.13 whip, 132 innings, 129 strikeouts. Bailey Ober is a big man. I believe he's 6'9" or 6'6", if I'm not mistaken. 6'9", I was right. 269, 260, big dominant man. Kid's 27 years old. I think he's got, still a great few years ahead of him. Bailey Ober, definitely think is a must add for this upcoming final week. I think he has 2 starts. Matt, you could chime in and talk about him while I pull up this, what his second start's going to be.
No, yeah, I mean, dude, I think you gave a great take on Ober. Honestly, there's really not much I could really say on it. Unless you have his 2 starts.
There's an outside chance that he pitches on the last day of the season, which is October 1st against the Rockies in Coors. So that one's looking a little bit rougher, but you definitely want him for at least that first start on Tuesday against the Athletics.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Reese Olson here. Detroit Tigers starting pitcher, 28% owned, jumped up quite a bit. He got 7% add today. In the last week. So, you want to probably hop on him if he's available because the kid has been pretty solid actually over the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starts. And that comes against the Yankees, the White Sox twice, the Cincinnati Reds, and the Dodgers of late.
That Dodgers outing was crazy. I watched some of that game.
Yeah, he went 6 innings deep, got the win, got 5 Ks, a 1.5 ERA with a 0.67 whip. Like those are solid numbers. Even if you're in a points league, like that's a quality start as well. If you have quality start category, that's a quality start. Like Reese Olson is a solid outing. Tuesday again, Kansas City. Not a bad start, even though they have been hot recently. And they're all kind of firing on all cylinders. But if he's able to handle the Dodgers, the Reds, the Sox, and the Yankees, I think that I'm willing to roll him out there, especially since it's probably going to be slim pickings anyway, because, I could name names like Strider and probably a few other guys that you probably will be without next week because these teams have clinched. So Reese Olson is an excellent ad as well. Not my number 1 out of all this, but he's damn sure up there.
Yeah, Matt, you were talking about his last 5 starts there. I'm going to give you Reese Olson's numbers overall for those last 5 starts. 3 wins, 2 losses, 30 innings pitched, 28 strikeouts, only 11 walks and 13 hits, a 1.50 ERA. His FIP is quite higher at the 3.90 FIP, but it's a 1.33 batting average again, so he's really, hitters are having the hard time seeing the ball against him. So Reese Olson, as Matt said, definitely a must-add for this weekend. His second start is potentially in the last day of the season against those Cleveland Guardians that have been mediocre this year. But before we continue on and we talk about somebody we tried to talk about last week, Twin starting pitcher, a young rookie that just got the call, and a couple of other rookies that are heating up, and then we got a couple of veterans for you. I need to talk to you about one of today's sponsors. And guys, real quick, let's talk about DoorDash. Love the convenience of getting what you want right to your door with DoorDash grocery delivery. You can stock up for the week or order last-minute cravings conveniently. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you'll find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each and every order. You'll get exactly what you ordered or we'll make it right. So sit back and enjoy quality groceries just like you picked them yourself. Get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to a $20 value when you use the code LOCKEDONMLB at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply. That's 50% off up to $20, no minimum subtotal, and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code LOCKEDONMLB. Don't forget, that's code LOCKEDONMLB for 50% off your first order with DoorDash. And dear everydayers and new listeners, we have an incredible opportunity for you to support the show and enjoy some fantastic perks along the way. Introducing our Diamond Club on the Subtext website. By becoming a member, you not only contribute to the show's success, but also gain access to exclusive benefits, get your hands on waiver wire rankings, call-up alerts, injury updates, instant reactions, and best of all, enjoy direct access to us for all of your burning fantasy baseball questions. Plus, you can try it out completely free for 14 days. Your support means the world to Matt and I, and we can't wait to connect with you on this exciting journey. Join our Diamond Club on the Subtext website today, and let's take your fantasy baseball experience to new heights. And guys, we're throwing something else out there. We already gave, a spot in next year's listeners league away already. We're going to do that same thing again, and this time to get a spot in the listeners league for next year, which will have a prize for first place, probably second, maybe third. Can't guarantee third, but probably first and second are going to get something. You get plus on top of getting to play and met with Matt and I in our leagues, getting to see how we play, the way we operate. All you got to do for this one is leave us a 5-star rating review on Apple or Spotify or anywhere else it may apply, and screenshot it and then send it to our email at fantasymds@gmail.com. And we're just going to pick which one we think is the best review overall. So just go out there and do it, and you get that free chance to, get that spot in our listener league for next year. But Matt, that's a lot of talking for me, my brother. You want to hop on and grab who we got up next?
Yep, we got Mr. Kenta Maeda, who had a really nice outing this last week. Did not give me the championship in that week. But was really nice at, Great American Hitter Park. He has been solid in 5 innings, which is, the Kenta Maeda special. 5 innings, got the win, 8 Ks, no earned runs, 0.4 whip. Really solid. Obviously didn't get the Key West because he didn't make it to the 6th inning, but would have. Kenta Maeda is valuable in all leagues, still 52% owned. So out there in 48% of leagues, you need to go out there and end Kenta because the next matchup, I believe, is
it's supposed to be against Oakland. That's what they're saying.
Right.
I don't know if it's been made official yet, but he does line up for a start early next week against Oakland.
Yeah. So here's the thing though. They are pretty much I think in right. Did they lock down the division?
I'm gonna double check that real quick.
Because that's the thing. So it's gonna come down to one of two things. They may or may not want to use him right off the bat. Or
I think they're locked in.
Yeah,
they're locked in at this point. Cleveland's 9.5 out.
So if he gets to start earlier in the week, which they haven't really give him the little, hey, he's going to be the start this week, he may or may not get scratched from it. But they also do want to keep him loose and warm, so they're going to have to roll him out. So I think there's a good chance he goes out there and pitches, and we'll see what happens. I think Kenta Maeda is a must-add, but I think wait until probably end of day of today when you're listening to this, just to make sure whether or not he gets the slot in. I'll try and circle back around and see if I can find out if they're actually planning on starting him.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't start Maeda early in this week. They've kind of already pushed him back a bit. They don't want to have him cold going into the playoffs because, he's obviously one of their better starters. So we'll see how that goes. Let's say he pitches Tuesday, he would line up at Colorado for the end of the year. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be tough as well. But you know what? If you can at least get that first one in the week against Oakland, it's a good move for Kenta Maeda. You can always pick him up, drop him, do that pitch and dish. That's one of the best things to do this time of year. But hey, make sure you're pitching, ditching the right way. Check the matchups, check how the team's been doing of late. That the pitcher's going up against. Check their splits against righty or lefties. If you have a lefty pitcher, see how the team does against lefties. If you have a righty pitcher, see how the team does against righties. But Matt, looks like you want to hop back in here.
Yeah, so it looks like they do have him slotted in going against the A's on Monday.
There you go.
On Tuesday, and it's going to be against Paul Blackburn, who has not been great. So, there's a good chance at a win. And there's definitely, obviously, it's the A's. So, a good strikeout game from Kenta Maeda. So, at this point, he's a must-add.
Yeah, brother. Very well said. Then let's move on to this next guy. Let's talk about Jose Alvarado. Looks like they've kind of been using him in that closer role a bit again. Him and Craig Kimbrell have been going back and forth. So, Alvarado at the beginning of the year was absolutely dominant in that closer's role. Looks like, he's getting mixed back in here and there. I just think this is kind of like, hey, if you need some potential saves for the end of the year, Alvarado's 34% owned, and he's been very good on the year. Worst case scenario, you're going to get strikeouts and ratios. So 39 innings for Alvarado on the year, 60 strikeouts, 1.83 ERA, 1.22 WHIP. So Alvarado, he's out there in a good amount of leagues. If you need somebody that has potential to get some saves but not guaranteed, you can go out there and pick him up.
Yeah, I like Alvarado. It's a great move there. Great take, Dom. Let's just move on here. Let's talk about Junior Caminero.
Yep, there you go. You got it.
Yeah, I kind of looked that one up. So he got the call up like early last week. It was actually really cool if you watch the video on Twitter of him actually getting the call.
I saw that.
It was really cool to see. But if you don't know who this kid is, and we've talked about him like once or twice, he's a really solid prospect. But he came out, got his first, taste of the bigs on the 23rd, which was Saturday. Went 1 for 4, went 1 for 5. Yeah, today he's looking like, he's pretty confident out there on the plate. Like, I like the kid. He's actually like a pretty decent, what do you call it? Prospect. He has a lot of power. I'm trying to get the actual stats up for me, but essentially, I think that like right now at this part of the season, you got to kind of take a chance and add somebody so that you can see. Like, sorry, I'm making no sense, but essentially, what I'm getting at is he is with all the players not playing this week, you really pretty much might need to just add him just based off of who's eligible, and he might be able to put you in a position to go ahead and, be the MVP. I mean, look what the Martian did when he got the call up. Look at what other prospects have done when they gotten the call up. Let's see if he could fall in place and do the same thing. I'll let Dom get into the minor league stats since I just wasn't able to get there.
Yeah. No, I mean, solid take on Caminero. He's the number 6 overall prospect in the MLB, according to MLB.com. 117 games this year for the 19-year-old Caminero, 85 runs, 18 doubles, 6 triples, 31 homers, 94 RBIs, 5 steals, 324 batting average. All this kid's ever done in his whole college, major league, minor league career has hit. All he's done is hit, and that power is really starting to show up. He's 6'1", 157. I would love to see him put on maybe like 15 more pounds of muscle, so he doesn't really get rid of that speed. That he does have some speed, and he could just 31 home runs, 117 games with 18 doubles, 6 triples is already showing you what Caminero is capable of. Honestly, I wouldn't say he's a must add right now. 13% owned on Yahoo, but hey, if you want some upside, and you're in a deeper league, definitely worth at least a shot for somebody that's this good. And before we move on and we talk about another young rookie for the Texas Rangers that's been tearing it up, a Reds rookie picking things back up. We got a veteran hitter that's doing very well, and then we got a sneaky little catcher for you guys. Matt is going to talk to you about one of our great sponsors.
The MLB playoffs are around the corner, which means the clock is ticking on your chance for 100 times payout. Your cash on daily fantasy baseball. Baseball has never been more exciting than it is now with studs like Acuna, Betts, Ohtani, and everyone else that falls in that category. Pick more or less than the stats of these stars, home runs, hits, strikeouts, and more, and receive up to 100 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you can win big. Dom and I love Sleeper, not only for its easy fantasy platform, but it also has the fastest and most accurate alerts humanly possible. They're going to help you out with football. They're definitely going to help you out with baseball, with call-ups, so you're going to want to check that out. But also getting back to the big payout here, entries can be made in under minutes, so you can get those last-minute bets in time and use the promo code Locked On, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper for terms and use of details. All right. Sorry for, absolutely butchering that, but it is what it is.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it is what it is. But, yeah, let's move on here. Let's talk about Mr. Evan Carter. I actually really like Evan Carter. He's been killing it. We talked about him. Like, he was probably one of the guys, you probably want to take a look at stashing. But hey, you know what? He really didn't perform right out the gate, but now he's really starting to take off over this last 2 weeks. Like, the stats are great. 12 runs, 3 bombs, 8 ribs, 2 stolen bases, batting 324. Like Evan Carter can be a serious contributor this week. And the thing is, too, I don't foresee him getting any days off coming up because they're going to want him hot and stretched out as humanly possible and getting as much reps as he can going into the playoffs themselves. The Rangers are 100% going to try and make this kid a 100% contributor for the playoffs. So, there's no reason that there's no reason that he's not going to play, in all honesty. So, with that being said, I mean, if you guys haven't heard of what the hell is going on with my computer today? If you haven't heard of Evan Carter, I'm going to just remind you who he is in his minor league stat in this last year. 420 at bats, 79 runs, 17 doubles, 6 triples, 13 bombs, 67 ribs, 26 stolen bases, 81 walks to 111 strikeouts. So the kid has great plate discipline. And he was batting 288 on the year with an OPS of 863. Like, I mean, the kid has really great numbers. Not really known for the power, but I mean, the stolen base numbers are going to be phenomenal. Could chip you in a bomb or two. Like, I like the upside of Evan Carter. I also think he has another level of power moving forward that I just hasn't been tapped into. I mean, you think about it, the kid's 6'2", 190 pounds. He puts on 10 to 15 pounds. And, this kid could be a serious contributor in all categories. Like, we could be talking about Evan Carter as, a top stud. And he already is a top stud. He was a top prospect. So, I mean, I love Evan Carter to death here in terms of fantasy baseball. He gets my mojo flowing as guys I'm going to target in the future. So, Evan Carter, I think, is a must add and is going to be somebody that's you're not going to have to worry about taking a seat this week to get the break for the playoffs.
Yeah, Matt, great take on Evan Carter. I absolutely love the kid as well. He was the number 8 overall prospect in the MLB before getting called up, according to MLB.com. Kid's been hitting 9th, but that's a great position in the Texas Rangers lineup because he's going to get driven in by all the top guys in that lineup, and it's shown to be facts here because through his, first 40 at-bats, he already has 12 runs. He's also chipped in 3 homers. Matt was talking about that there's another level to that power. Is Evan Carter already tapping into that in his start to his major league career at 20 years old? It truly looks like that. 9 walks to 13 strikeouts since he's gotten called up. So that means, he's pretty much the same guy that he was in the minors, and that's great to see. Already 3 steals and batting .325 as well with 8 RBIs through his first 40 at-bats. Evan Carter might be my favorite guy, even including the pitchers. I think Evan Carter is my favorite guy in this list. There was a league that I'm in where that plays a championship next week. I picked him up for next week already in that league. He's 21% owned. Evan Carter is my favorite ad. I'm just going to go out there and say my favorite ad heading into next week. I'm going to have him pretty high in outfield going into next year, to be honest with you. Going to be one of my favorite outfielder 3/utility guys going into next year. I love Evan Carter. I love the prospects of him for next season. Let's move on. Let's talk about this next guy, though. Let's talk about Christian Encarnacion-Strand, somebody that was absolutely tearing the minors apart before he got the call up. And he really didn't show too much, as he got called up right away, struggled a little bit. But last 14 days for Encarnacion-Strand, he's 10 for 25, which is good for a 400 batting average, 6 runs, 4 homers. So Encarnacion-Strand starting to show that power, 9 RBIs and 1 steal. So, I think Strand is a great ad going into next week. They get Cleveland and looks like the Cardinals there. Neither team really has, a great pitching staff. So I think he'll be able to take advantage of those matchups. On September 23rd, he was hitting 4th in the lineup. He went 3 for 5 with 2 runs, a homer, 4 RBIs. I love Encarnacion-Strand. I was super, super high on him coming into the year. Honestly, I thought he had the chance to make the Reds opening day lineup, but, he unfortunately had a little injury. And he's a big boy, 6 foot, 224, so that power is legit. And let's see, what did he do in the minors again? He had 20 home runs in 67 games with 65 RBIs, 21 doubles, 62 RBIs, and a .331 batting average. So love Encarnacion-Strand. He's definitely somebody you could add at 32% owned heading into next week.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, his upside is limitless, and if he's starting to get it going, I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't be added on everybody's team at this point. But I want to talk about somebody I like even more than Encarnacion-Strand, and that's Jorge Polanco. And you're going to be probably looking at me like I got 7 heads, but there's a few reasons why. And it has nothing to do other than the fact that he's like an end of the year guy. They're trying to get him warm. I think he's guaranteed to play every single day. So I think Polanco is somebody that you want to add second and third base eligibility as well. So that multi-position and two tough positions to fill is also key. But here's the thing too. He's starting to heat up after going cold all last week. He hit a bomb today, which is Sunday for us. And I think it's going to keep rolling. He's going against the A's and at Colorado. Those are great matchups. Like, this is the part of year where like I really start caring about who I'm facing each and every week and how I'm going to literally manufacture the win. And Polanco could be a dude that helps you manufacture that win straight up. Like, okay, I also took a peekaboo, like a little peekaboo into the matchups for, who he's going to face. He's facing Paul Blackburn, a dude I haven't heard of before on the A's, and some dude named Alinda. Like, that's great. And then, I mean, like, dude, like, then you look at the Colorado pitchers and they're not even rolling out their better names too. It's pretty atrocious. So like Polanco pretty much gets the best case scenario for fantasy baseball. So I think 100%, like, like these other names are really great for you, but like Polanco has the best matchup and best case scenario. Like, honestly, you might even just want to go and target anybody on the Twins batting in the lineup this week that are going into the weekend, because anybody hitting in Coors this weekend is pretty much going to be the most valuable player for me, or Great American Hitter Park.
Matt, great take on Polanco. He's been hitting second in that Twins lineup. A good opportunity for runs and RBIs. Last 2 weeks, he's 9 for 33, 273 batting average, 5 runs, a homer, 6 RBIs. So it looks pretty good for Polanco. As Matt mentioned, he's a notorious second half player. Polanco's a career 270 hitter. So I really like, the upside there. And great matchups. Matt, you did a great job there, so I don't have too much else to add. I just truly love Jorge Polanco. Just been one of my favorite players for a long time, and I'm glad he's finally healthy and out in that Twins lineup doing his thing again. Let's move on. Potentially our last guy, and then we might talk a little bit of strategy for this last week here, unless Matt has anybody else he wants to throw in after this. But let's talk about Gabriel Moreno, catcher for the Arizona. I was going to say Cardinals. Jesus Christ, I'm in football mode already. But Arizona Diamondbacks, that is, for Gabriel Moreno. He's been great. He kind of been moving him around the lineup. He did hit first in the lineup today, which I love to see. He went 2 for 5 today with a run and an RBI. On September 20th, he went 3 for 4 with an RBI. And this guy's just a batting average machine. On the year, good numbers for Moreno. 104 games played, 290 batting average, 31 runs, 7 homers, 46 RBIs with 6 steals. The kid can do it all. I'm really excited for Moreno for, next week, and I'm really excited for him next year. He gets the White Sox, not too many great starting pitchers there. You kind of got to watch out for Cease and Clevenger. That's about it there, but let's see where he winds up in that final few games of the season after the White Sox. It looks like he lines up with Houston. Houston's got some decent starting pitching over there. Nothing that's really blowing you away though. So I think Moreno is fine to roll out there for next week. And just another young guy that I'm high on for next year. Absolutely dominated the minor leagues. Always had over, like a 280 batting average consistently. So Moreno is definitely somebody you're going to want to, roll out next week if you need a catcher. He's only 22% owned. And I love Gabriel Moreno once again going into next year.
Oh, yeah. Moreno is definitely somebody I'm going to have ranked pretty decently. I had him ranked decently going into this year. Obviously the setback of the injury is kind of really what did it, where I didn't see a true breakout for him this year. I think that next year may be the year. I mean, he did show off his potential with the batting average and the plate discipline, because he did have a really great year in that aspect. So, I'm all about it. But let me I got one more name for us, if that's okay.
Yeah,
we got time for one dude, and that's actually Joe Adele. Joe Adele has been hitting the ball recently. This last week, 4 runs, 2 bombs, 3 ribs. Batting average really isn't blowing you away with going 222, but the OPS is 944. So like the OPS is really great right there. And quite honestly, I'm sure the batting average is going to come in suit, because in the minors, he's had a pretty good career doing that. And now that he's up in the Angels lineup full time, I like the prospect. I also like the thing that where he's going to play every day now. There's room. Otani's gone. Adele is going to get the spot. So I'm rolling out him. He's getting Texas, which is a little bit tough, but they're not rolling out any big names out from what I'm looking at. It's Dane Dunning and John Gray, like they're not guys that really like scare me. And then they get Seattle. Logan Gilbert's the only guy that's really going out for them. So, Joe Adele is somebody I'm actually going out for, a little sneaky possible 5-category guy, because he can chip in a stolen base. He can hit for average, and he does have the power.
Yeah, Matt, great take on Adele. I'm just going to give my 2 cents, and then we're going to get on out of here. Adele actually had a great chance when Mike Trout first went down, because they called Joe Adele up to take a spot, and then literally I think he played 2 or 3 games, and he went down with a strained oblique, and he really didn't get that opportunity to prove himself after having a monster year in the minors. And, just a great call by Matt. Had a very good minor league season, Joe Adele. I truly think the kid has a lot of upside, 24 years old, still a lot left in the tank for him. But with that being said, guys, that's all for us today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. And look out for a new episode tomorrow where we just kind of tell you how to pull off this Locked On Fantasy Baseball championship. But guys, until then, see you.
Peace.